What's up everybody and welcome back. So today I obviously have another recommendation, and I think this is my first recommendation of this kind in the sense that there's cooking. So today I'm recommending Renge to Naruto. Apologies to Alton, I don't remember if I told him about this. He loves cooking stuff. If I haven't, my bad, but everybody knows now, which is being written by Nikolai. It is 20 chapters so far, and it is cooking, comedy, drama, romance, seinen, slice of life. And so far, I enjoy it. I like it. Now, what I will say right off the rip, it's a little rough around the edges. This is a manga that to me has a lot of potential on its side that I'm really hoping it measures up to that potential. Will it? We'll see. 20 chapters in, that's not a whole lot. This is kind of a slower paced story, but the potential is there from chapter 1. So what this is about is Naruto Shinji, who's a maintenance worker, I think. I'm not 100% sure what he does because the manga has never said, but it's shown him at work and he's wearing kind of a janitorial thing and he's collecting garbage bags. So he's either a kind of maintenance guy or a janitor of some type. I'm not sure because I'm pretty sure they go to different sites and I know that happens for both. I don't know. Either way, he walks by a local Chinese restaurant that he used to go to before it closed down, and he sees that it's reopened but with a very different exterior decoration. Before, it was basically just a restaurant front. Now there's like leopard print on the front. But he decides to pop in for lunch only to discover a gal, Renge, behind the counter welcoming him in. Initially, he wants to leave, but he stays because of her assertiveness and orders some food and starts crying after tasting it because of how good and comforting it is, reminding him of the grandma who used to run the restaurant, only to find out that Renge is her granddaughter. So the two of them form a relationship after this because Shinji becomes a regular, even though he denies it, which is dumb to me because every chapter is about him being in this restaurant. I don't know if that means he's there every day, but it seems like he's there multiple times a week. So he becomes a regular because of his love for everything that Renge makes, and being around her high energy, hopeful galness fills him with energy to continue the day because he's always exhausted and he's always worn out and beat down. I don't think it's just because of his job. I think it's just part of his personality and a lot of trauma from his life. So far, I'm enjoying this manga, but like I said, it's not without its faults, and one of those shows up right off the bat, that being that you don't learn the characters' names until chapter 4. And when I say you don't learn the characters' names, I mean you don't learn Renge's name until chapter 4. You have to wait until chapter 7 to learn Naruto's. So this is a slower manga. One of the reasons that I think that is because initially I don't think that there was sort of that confirmation that it's going to be long running and that it won't just be axed out the box, so the build up is a little slow. But that also might be realistic, because if you're a regular somewhere, it will probably take a few visits to learn the owner's name, but like I said in the manga, it makes it a little slow, having to wait till chapter 4 to learn Renge's name, and then till chapter 7 to learn Naruto's. And because of that, the story really starts in chapter 7, because we know both the main characters' names finally, and that's also the first story that takes place outside of the restaurant. And up to that point, it's mainly just Naruto reacting to Renge, or talking to himself about Renge, obviously inside of the restaurant, and kind of her shenanigans, laissez-faire style of running this restaurant. Not that it's not being successful, but if he likes something and it's something that she had just thought up, she's throwing it on the menu like the next day, and she's pushing it to everybody as the recommended lunch, meal, or whatever for that day. She's a very free spirit chef, which is nice, it's honestly one of the reasons that Naruto likes her. It's one of the reasons that I like her. She's not strict to anything. She just wants to make stuff that tastes good, which I'm 100% here for because I love food. But even though it seems like it takes a little bit for the story to really start, that doesn't mean that this is a bad manga. I'm enjoying it. That's why I'm recommending it, obviously, but it is a bit slow. Like, it needs to build its revs up to really hit the power, if that makes sense. If you like cars, maybe that'll make sense. But it needs to build ahead of steam, right? At least that's what it feels like so far. But there's something something about it that's just so charming. On top of that, I'm a sucker for cooking manga, which this manga has cooking. It goes over some recipes, but the main focus is on the MC's relationships and the different dishes that Renge adds to the menu. So it's not like my last recommendation where they're really gonna break down every single dish that Renge makes as far as ingredient amounts so that you can make it, but it does go over the ingredients in it, and I guess from there you can piecemeal it together if you want, but the main focus is on the MC's relationships and different dishes added to the menu. So far it's a very simplistic story, but that's not a bad thing sometimes. Sometimes you don't need things that are overcomplicated or overdramatic, and this certainly isn't overcomplicated or overdramatic, and that includes the characters. Well, Naruto might be a little overdramatic, but as far as Renge goes as a character, she's easily my favorite, not because she's a girl, but honestly because of her can-do, can't-fail attitude, coupled with her being a chef and a gal. So, you know, sign me up for some of that. It's just the hopefulness of like, yeah, I can do whatever. I like this, I'm gonna put it on the menu, because I know maybe everybody won't love it, but there will be enough people that also love it. She is full steam ahead, run through a door kind of character, which I enjoy. But we also haven't really learned of her backstory and motivation though. We know her grandmother had the restaurant in the past, so she took it over, but it seems like she took it over just cause, at least as of now, but I'm sure her motivation with it will be flushed out more when we start to get peeks behind the gal, because we, for the first time, kind of got a little peek behind the gal, and if that doesn't make sense to you, I mean behind all of the extravagance and behind all of the excitement, you see kind of how they act when they're alone. That's a peek behind the gal, what I mean. We finally got one of that in the later chapters. Like I said, it's a slow starting manga, but there's so much potential. Naruto, on the other hand, so far he isn't my favorite. I'm just gonna be honest. Now, I'm not saying that he's terrible. He's just so gloomy, and usually that's not a problem for me. I've recommended a few manga with a gloomy guy and gal girl MC, but Naruto, I don't know what it is, but his gloomy hits different. It's gotten better, but his gloomy has, I don't know, it needs to be less moving forward at a little faster pace for me. You know, maybe it's because he barely talks or is always kind of freaking out a little, like he's anxious, but I want more out of him. Like, I understand he's been beat down by life, but he's too gloomy and beat down to know things that he likes. Like, he doesn't know what he likes at this point. He's been so just over everything. And maybe I don't enjoy that because I know what that feels like, so I don't want to read that, you know what I mean? But fortunately, he's been getting better because of his interactions with Renge. So it's kind of like her atmosphere, not just her cooking, her atmosphere, her personality, her friendship, the relationship that they're having is really helping him heal from the experiences that he's gone through, which we don't fully know as of yet. We do know that he was basically in a black company, and it seems like he was worked to death to the point of utter depression and quitting that and going to this maintenance janitorial job, whatever it is, but we haven't really gotten a full look into it. And like I said, even though it's slow starting, with the potential and with the way that it's going, I think we will get a full look into it, and we'll see more of how Renge is healing him and helping him heal, because he didn't have any connections with anybody else, or at least it seems that way. But he is very gloomy, he's kind of nervous, and I understand that he's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, at least not now. I think, like I said, later he's going to get better and better and better. There's also a third character that was introduced, Ryoma Hayama. She's 28 and a surgeon, a horrible drunk, and an aspiring adult mangaka who's seemingly going to be the force that pushes Naruto and Renge together. Not that they don't potentially already have feelings for each other. I think they've made that clear that they do at this point, but she's definitely an instigator that's going to push them to being closer. Now, there is a fourth character that was just kind of introduced in the 20th chapter. Don't know who she is. Don't really know if she's going to be a big part of it. It seems like she's going to become another regular, like Ryo, like Naruto, but we'll see. I don't really think either of them are going to be competition, but there's other characters that are being introduced. So far though, this is a chill manga. It's taking its time, but it really seems to be building up steam, which is great, because even though it is slow, it has a lot of potential that I really hope it taps into. The art isn't the best, and at times it's pretty, but at times it's also pretty wonky, but it kind of plays into the charm of the manga. I'm just hoping that it starts building up the pace and moving on a more concrete story development path sooner rather than later. That doesn't mean I'm gonna drop it. It's about food and a gal, and there's a whole lot of potential. I just hope that it builds into it at a faster speed. But as of now, I think it's a recommendation that has a lot of potential that I hope it lives up to. If this seems interesting to you, then check it out. If you want more recommendations, check out the Why You Should playlist in the description box below. As always, the podcast and merch are linked down there as well. Other than that, I will see all of you in the next one.